So I'm aware that this is the last presentation of the day. I mean, you're really tired. I think that Barca is playing. Somebody told me that Barca is playing against Man U or something like this. So some of you might be like looking at the phone and everything, and some of you might be a little bit tipsy. So I'm gonna keep it like super, super light. Magda told me actually keep it super light. So, but that's a problem because keeping it light and fun. I mean, I'm a developer, so I'm not fun, But I mean, fun is not my main kind of strength. It's not on my CV or something like this. So I asked like someone from the company who's really good at presentations and everything, and I told her like, okay, what do you do to keep it fun? And she said like, okay, you have to tell a joke. I was like, oh fuck, no joke, no. Like, okay, a joke. Yeah, to break the ice and everything. Like one joke. He said, yeah, okay, I know one joke. So we'll start with a joke, and then we'll actually like move on. Okay. Cool. So now that humor is out of the way, let's start talking about React. Okay. So when I started using React a while ago, I thought that React and React DOM, they were kind of the same thing, and especially because at the beginning they were bundled in the same kind of package. But then I discovered that actually they are two really different libraries. Like they do like really different stuff. React, the only thing it does, it really roughly and really wrongly, it converts kind of a state into a tree of React elements. And then React DOM, what it does, it takes these React elements and it translates them to the DOM, okay? So they do different things. It's like two kind of different translations. So this is actually a really powerful thought, if you think about it. So at Paddle, we've been like experimenting with this kind of stuff a lot lately. So I'm gonna take you through this journey of experimentation. Okay, it all started when I was in therapy, okay? Yeah, so at Paddle we have like this really nice stuff. We have like a mental coach. It's a really startup-y kind of stuff. We have a mental coach. We can go to her whenever like we feel like something is wrong, so we're troubled, we're tired, blah, blah, blah. We can go to her and just like chat to her about problems. So I went there for the first time 3 months ago or something like this. So she asked me, okay, what do you want to talk about? I don't know. So she said, okay, let's start from the basics. What are your top 5 fears? And I was like, okay, global warming, that's a legit one. Fundamentalism, this is kind of an intellectual like one. Death, that's pretty scary. Spiders. And then writing email templates. And she was like, are you sure these are like, are you sure this is all right? Like, no, of course not. Global warming, fundamentalism, writing email templates, death, and spiders. And she said, so are you telling me that you'd rather be dead than to actually write email templates? At that point, I discovered that she was not a developer. So I had to explain her, okay? So we spent the rest 45 minutes of the session talking about, why writing email templates suck. So the usual, you've been there. You've been in this kind of like nightmare, like Node.js, okay, this is expected, but inline style sheets, 2019, still like some email clients, they need us to inline styles and everything, otherwise they won't recognize it. No responsiveness, or a little bit of responsiveness, but still like it's a really hard problem to solve. It's something that is still a little bit broken, and the tooling is like just terrible, like straight out 2012. So, well, she was not surprised. She didn't understand a thing, but, I had to vent somehow. So I went back to the office, and I sat at my desk, and my manager came, and she was like, okay, we have like bad news and good news. I mean, the bad news is the coach, the mental coach has left the company, unexpectedly. The good news is that we have a new project, and you have to write some email templates. I was like, oh no, the dev, no, oh fuck. So I looked around looking for interns or juniors, you know. Come on. That's life, okay? Get over it. But they have disappeared. They have vanished. After years of evolution, they smell that. And I was like, oh fuck, now it's me with templates. And because I'm a professional, I started thinking how to dodge this bullet, you know? And recently I had read this really good article. It's a Dan Abramov, of course, article. Do you know this blog? Do you know Overreacted is the Dan Abramov blog? Oh, isn't he great? He's amazing. I have like kind of a man crush with Dan Abramov. My wife is here, so probably I wouldn't say, I would have to say that, but yeah, he's great. Well, I don't know what does he mean with like the 3 bento boxes and 37-minute read, because after 2 hours I was still wrapping my head around the ideas. But the thing is that one of the things, basically this article, it's great, you have to read it. Basically this article, it explains how, what I said at the beginning, how React is one thing and the renderers are another different thing. And he goes at length talking about how React DOM does all the reconciliation with the DOM and stuff and so on and so forth. But the main idea is this one. The main idea is, so, and again, like high-level model, don't take it like as something like close to reality. But basically you have your JSX, okay? And sorry about that. So you have your JSX, and then React turns this JSX into React elements, okay? React elements are environment agnostic, which means that they are objects, actually. So basically what React does is it turns this state into like a big tree of React elements, okay? But then what do we do with React elements? React elements are agnostic. We cannot do anything with them. So we have React DOM. Then what React DOM does is it takes these React elements and it translates them into something that the DOM understands, which means append child, query selector, and so on and so forth, okay? But this is one of the renderers. We have plenty of them. We have React PDF. I don't know if you know this library. It turns React components into PDFs. It's amazing, it's really good. We have React DOM, we have React Native, which turns React elements into an iOS kind of view hierarchy. So this is actually really good. Even we have like something like Ink, which turns React components into a terminal. This is actually really fun. So I thought, okay, I think this is a video. Oh, amazing. Look at this. This is built with React. It's a little bit of a tiny stupid thing, but it's so cool, you know? So I thought, okay, so at Paddle we work with React. We enjoy it. We have like amazing tooling. Our whole process is built around this kind of React environment. Why don't we just like do something called React Email and just like write HTML email templates with React? Because we have the tooling, no? I mean, by doing this for free, we would get things like, first, like fully reusable email components, and then snapshot testing, so we can check the HTML of the resulting email, styling consistency with like what we use in our normal products, kinda, you know? Funky tooling, you know, we have things like CSS in JS and stuff like this that we could be using with emails, and fun, because, you know, React is fun. So I told my manager, I told her, I want to build a library that, to write like emails with React. And she said, by writing a library, do you mean just like getting some NPM modules and piping them together and hope for the best? And I said, yes. Because, you know, she knows that front-end developers were just like glorified plumbers, you know? It's just like pipe things together and, you know, hope that they will work. To be honest, this is a pretty hipster kind of plumber. Yeah. Anyway, so this is how it works. For example, we have this element, which is a wrapper. which is this kind of thing that you have to do, like emails to actually get a maximum width and stuff like this with tables and so on and so forth. So we write this wrapper. We use style components to write like CSS in JavaScript, and we just write like a normal freaking table with the cells and stuff like this. We have headings, The thing is that we've tried to keep it like really flexible. So because sometimes email templates, they change depending on like the who this email is going to, the audience, or kind of the marketing purpose of the campaign or something like this. So they have to be pretty flexible. So basically you can pass everything, all the props. You can pass style as props, so we can modify elements really depending on the situation. But then we have headings, and they are like React elements. So an element looks like this, It's just like a React kind of application. You have the wrapper, which it's a table that wraps everything. Have the container, which gives like a maximum width. You have the paddle logo, headings, and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. I think that, I had fun writing this. I mean, of course, fun. But I had fun writing this. After doing this, ba-boom, some plumbing. Okay, so what we do basically is we use this tooling that we have for server-side rendered React. So we use render to static markup. Basically what this does, it gets your React app and it converts everything, it turns everything into HTML. We use some tooling from style components, which is like an amazing library. Basically it gets all the styles from the components, it turns them into like a single kind of style sheet that you can play around. Then we use juice, which actually it gets some markup, some styles, and it inlines. Oh, that was really cool. That it inlines the styles, okay, which is really handy because emails. And then we do like the usual thing. We push everything to S3, and then we use lambdas to access them. And then after all of this plumbing is done, ba-boom, terrifying, awful, ugly as fuck. Fuck, can I say fuck? Yeah, fuck. Email template. That's amazing. I was going to say before we had to write this by hand, but that's not true. But it's like for marketing purposes. Before we had to write this by hand, and now everything is automated. It's still a nightmare, but at least it's a fun nightmare. The thing is that we are using like some kind of templating language. So for this, we're using handlebars, but we could be using any templating language. The good thing is that with this, we actually also generate PDFs. So with a single template, we have emails and templates, which is good for invoices and stuff like this. So I told my manager again, okay, this library is working. It's battle tested. We have like several emails and PDFs going to production and so on and so forth. I wanna open source this library, open source it for giving back to the community. And she was like, will you though? Like, yeah, I'm gonna give it a name, a license. Click the button to make it public and so on and so forth. And she was like, will you though? Like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But the thing is that we wrote like this post about us going through this journey of like, I hate the word journey and I've used it like 1,000 times. So you know what I mean. I wrote a blog about us using this library and so on and so forth, and it was pretty well received. And then one of the best things that ever happened in my professional career happened. Let me have like a sincere moment with you. So I was, after writing these posts, we were actually thinking about open sourcing this library. Yeah, I know that you're thinking that this is not like this is not like an HTML, this is not semantic. Okay, web components, we're good to go. By the way, next time to React, one of my colleagues, Amy, she's amazing, is going to give a talk about web components in React, because we've started like using web components in production, which is terrifying, but it's actually really exciting. So she's going to be talking at the next time to React conference about this. It's going to be really cool. Anyway, so yeah, we wrote this article and everything, and this guy from the States contacted us and send us like this tweet, like, one of your engineers wrote this article, which inspired me to build github.com/timcurry/Misa. Would you mind passing this along? That's amazing. First, somebody did work for me. Somebody built like an open source library to do that. And then it's like, okay, I did something and people like kind of enjoy it and built a library and everything. So that actually was really, really nice. Check out this library because it's basically the same solution that we've been doing, but it's open source and you can contribute and so on and so forth. It's really exciting. That's enough with the sincere moment, okay? So basically that's pretty much it. I think it's a really powerful idea when you start like decoupling React, which is like a really powerful abstraction of like everything should be an isolated component, thinking of composition and stuff like this. Once you kind of abstract this idea of React as a state to a tree dependency from React DOM, you can start building really cool stuff. And I don't know, I encourage you to build like all of the things. Yeah, you know, you can build like dashboards or like operating systems, I don't know, emails, video games, I don't know, like dogs. I don't know, you can write almost everything with this kind of philosophy. So that's it. Thank you.